to Avondale Springs at 5:11. Cherokee Park, 5:31, out of the parks, out on the water. Please make sure you have loved ones who are getting back inside, getting off the water. In Mooresburg, 5:41. So again, that's the cluster of severe thunderstorms versus the tornado warned storm. Big picture, obviously, we have a lot of storms with heavy rain and frequent lightning, but what really kind of crosses that threshold is the severe storms have been reaching the 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail. So either of those can cause damage. Very important to keep that in mind. And then we're also throwing that potential for some rotation here. It's kind of broad rotation we've been seeing out of a couple of these storms. We're seeing it right now in Roane County. Again, this is only moving northeast at 15 miles per hour. The problem with that is that then means it's slowly dumping heavy rain. So that's very important to keep that in mind. That's moving over Lawnville here over the next few minutes. So we'll get kind of the northern edge here of that rotation. Moving northeast at 15 miles per hour. Then we're closer to Holiday Shores at 4:55, Oak Hill Estates at 5:36, and then I'll come down here in that southern tip here. So that way kind of hitting all points since it's moving so slow. That'll be at New Midway at 5:01 to Oral about 5:14. That'd be Pawpaw Plains about 5:20. Eaton Crossroads 5:28 and Cusick at 5:45. So again, that's where we have that active tornado warning in Roane County. Notice currently western half is where we're seeing actually the latest scan on that radar, trying to hook a little bit more. So this is where it is trying to rotate right here over this bend of Watts Bar Lake in Roane County. If you've got loved ones who you know are out on the water, very important reminder today. Actually, Jacob is analyzing some of that rotation within this storm, so let's check in with him as well.
Yeah, definitely still kind of broad rotation at the moment. In fact, there's the latest scan. You just saw the radar sweep through the region. Here's the area that we're most concerned about. So Rockwood, yes, you are under that tornado warning. The worst of the storm is now east of you. So the areas that need to be in their safe place right now, Harriman over towards Kingston, you can see where those reds and greens are touching together. That is the area that we're most concerned about in terms of the potential to see a brief spin-up tornado. I'll actually pop up the correlation coefficient. Usually we see a little bit of blue kind of indicating what would be debris lofted up in the air. We're not seeing it. We are a good ways away from the radar, but that just means that we don't have anything at least on the ground, hopefully at least at this particular point in time. We'll take a look at the hail as well. That not as big of a factor within this tornado warning, at least at the moment. But I also want to kind of draw our attention, while yes, we have that tornado warning here in the portions of Roane County, I also want to draw your attention to what we're dealing with, and it may look like we just got a new warning potentially. And there is a new warning for Granger, Hamblin, Jefferson counties as well. I'll zoom out and show you. This is heading right for the Morristown at the moment. So this is with that first cluster of showers and storms. I was just looking at this a few moments ago. It wasn't too tight, but now we're beginning to see that. So there's Morristown. You are in that tornado warning. You need to go ahead and get in your safe place, whether it be the most interior part of your home, whether it be in a closet, in the basement, or away from any windows at the moment. This is what we're going to be watching. So I'm going to get the details for you here on this storm and show you what we're doing. So this is moving east at 25 miles per hour. So it has slowed down just a little bit over the last couple of scans. So let's take a look, show you where the strongest rotation is at this moment. This is going to be in and around the Blaine community, heading over towards Jefferson City as it is moving to the east, once again at 25 miles per hour. So there's a look at what we're seeing. This is the latest scan that's just coming in. Right now, it's kind of broad rotation at the moment, not seeing anything signaling that a tornado would be on the ground right now at the moment, but you can see a little bit of that broad rotation. And this is also, interesting enough, where we've had some of that hail core, so indicating the strongest part of the storm, the updraft and then the downdraft. This is where we have that hail falling down, and I'll kind of query that and show you what we are looking at. Once again, this is the latest tornado warning that is coming out. This is going to go until 5:30 for Granger, Hamblin, as well as Jefferson County. So that is what we're looking at least at this moment. I don't want to forget as well the storm that is moving through Knox County that has had the history of producing some very large hail. It doesn't look as organized right now in terms of maybe tornadic signatures, which is good news, but it is still showing that capability of maybe some large hail in and around the Fountain City vicinity over towards Knoxville. That's over towards Zoo Knoxville. I've been looking off screen at our camera there. Haven't seen anything falling, at least at this moment, which is good news. But we have had reports maybe up to $half size hail from this particular storm as it is moving off towards the east, once again at 25 miles per hour. And I'll throw a quick track on there and show you the latest for the tornado warning, and then we'll get it back to Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley. But this storm has slowed down just a little bit. The worst part of the storm about to move towards Cherokee Lake. Hopefully you're not out there on the lake at the moment. If you do have friends or family that you know out there, shoot them a text, give them a call, say, hey, a very strong storm capable of producing a tornado is heading in your location. You need to get off and find shelter right away. So this is Jefferson City, 501, Panther Creek State Park, 512, Alpha 515, Morristown 527, and over towards Whitesburg at 549. But we're also keeping a watch on that tornado warning in Roane County as well, as we're continuing to get these new additional warnings coming in from time to time. We'll pitch back over to Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley.
Yeah, I wanted to just kind of focus in on those communities too. So sometimes, when we talk about a big picture county or area, I want to take a close look at exactly who's in these communities. And then, of course, we'll continue. Jacob's analyzing those storms. He's checking in from any reports of damage, things like that we need to relay to you. So we'll continue to kind of tag team this for you. And then if we need to kind of push back to kind of a split screen with golf, we'll try to the best of our ability. But right now, obviously, a threat to life and property is the most important thing. And that is where we are seeing that rotation right here. So I want to zoom in a little bit tighter. Sometimes we really come down to, I'm talking school zones, neighborhoods, communities when we take a close look like this. So that's where I like to kind of give you a better idea of exactly who is in the middle of this tornado warning. So that rotation that we're seeing right now from Perrin Hollow to Blaine is where we're seeing that twist right now. Again, on the radar, it is indicated what that easily could be trying to produce that funnel to a potential tornado. So again, a tornado warning until 5:30, Granger County. This is the northern edge of Jefferson. So you can see Newmarket, you're included in this warning, but this is where we're getting that rotation. So this is going to be scooting by your neck of the woods. When you're close enough like this, treat it as if you kind of right are in that path. Just go ahead and get to the lowest level of your home away from windows. As we are seeing more of the heart of this, I'll kind of shift here over towards Blaine so you can then kind of see where Leah Springs to Perrin Hollow to Blaine is where we're kind of seeing that twist up. And then we have that potential for some hail as well. So New Corinth, also in there in terms of this tornado warning to Buffalo Springs. So that's where we're continuing to see that warning until 5:30. Looking at Cherokee Lake area. So we are north of Jefferson City with this particular warning. Then we are getting up, when you can see that scattering, this happens around the radar site. So that's where it's kind of a little bit of a blind spot right over the radar as it looks closely. Really, as it gets closer though, we'll also see a really deep scan of this to see that that'll be moving right here over Campbell County as well as Granger County. So Waunee Village, right there, Panther Creek State Park. Again, you're kind of in that path from this particular tornado warning. I don't want you to forget. We're not forgetting you either. We do have that tornado warning for Roane County. Now notice then the leading edge is starting to, it's not as colorful. That'd be a good way to look at it. So that's where it's kind of starting to try to fall apart here, but it's still showing that signs of rotation. So there is that tornado warning until 5:30 as well for Roane County. So that one's going to center it up right here over this northwest corner of Roane County, Harriman to Kingston. We can zoom in on those communities again one more time for you, so that way you know that exactly who we're talking about, kind of which part of town. I know if there's families watching right now and you're trying to decide exactly what to do, kind of err on the side of caution, especially if you're right at Kingston to Holiday Shores. So that is where you're kind of right there in the middle of that possible rotation, kind of hitting into that Holiday Shores area. So actually I want to zoom in a little bit tighter because I do think with this being kind of a small window and moving at only 15 miles per hour, it's moving very slowly. So that does mean that we can really just kind of pound that heavy rain over the same communities, Midtown to Holiday Shores. You can see that fresh scan. That's why all of a sudden everything looked a little more enhanced. Laddie Village. So some of these are be neighborhoods and communities here that we're right there on this edge as we look at then Emory Gap. You can see Harriman here, Emory Heights included in this. So this is where we're looking very closely at that tornado warning in Roane County. I want to get down to all these communities. Basiltown, you're included in this, getting right here along that edge of Dearmond, Walnut Hill here. We do just have a fresh severe thunderstorm warning that was issued. So again, we're keeping an eye on multiple storm cells for you, but with there being a couple of tornado warnings in our area, we want to make sure that you're staying informed here as we do have those storms continuing to flare up. So that newest severe thunderstorm warning continuing in our area, and that's where we are looking at Anderson County as well. Notice that we've got the tornado warning right now in Roane County, big picture. We've got Northeast Anderson County coming up through Claiborne County as well as Granger County. Then that second tornado warning issued here going up towards Hamblin County. It was hard to see with all this lightning, but that's why I wanted to enhance that for you so you could see all the different layers here. A lot of you are hearing these noisy storms. That's a common problem here again this afternoon as these flare up. But in terms of that damage risk, that's when a severe thunderstorm warning is issued. Multiple storms right now here clustered up have that potential of 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds and 1-inch hail. And then we also have that potential for rotation from those 2 tornado warnings. Notice we also have a cluster of some severe storms here in McMinn, moving along here towards the North Carolina line. So it's kind of lifting up into Monroe County around that edge of our area. And then we have that tornado warning in Roane that I was just zoomed in on your communities, as well as that one there coming up towards Hamblin County across Granger County. So we have multiple storm cells that are causing problems in different forms and fashions. Heavy rain and frequent lightning, Cumberland County, Morgan County, not severe, but heavy rain and frequent lightning through Campbell County and Scott County as well. And then this cluster of severe storms at the moment coming across here at Granger County, Hamblin again showing that sign of rotation. So that's where we're continuing to keep an eye on each one of these cells as they are developing. So that's something else too. When you can safely, you can see they just kind of refresh this to be a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's important there. Going from Roane County into Oak Ridge. So we'll go ahead and kind of readjust our vantage point here with that severe thunderstorm warning going into Oak Ridge and West Knoxville. So that would be then the storm that was rotating here in Roane County. So that's going to continue to move northeast. That is headed towards Oak Ridge, Hardin Valley. You can see you're highlighted here. And then the rest of Roane County, where you weren't in the tornado warning, that does continue. Likely they'll expire that early. The severe thunderstorm warning goes until 5:15. So this is something we continue to keep an eye on. And if you can, safely share your photos from the WVLT First Alert Weather app or join our WVLT Weather Vols Facebook group. I know this is something that helps us kind of drive home what's happening at the ground. So actually Jacob Durham has a look at some of your photos, what's coming in right now from these storms.
Yeah, a special thank you to Debbie Wadeball. This is out of Fountain City. She actually showed another one that I'll work on getting into our system and show you. But this is a look at the hail that has fallen here in Fountain City as that severe storm moved through. She said mostly quarter-size hail, but there were a few hailstones that were up to golf ball size. She said she was not going to go outside and pick those up, and I definitely don't blame her there as we are tracking the latest on these storms moving through. So these storms do mean business. That's why we're telling you, if you have your cars and you have a carport that you can pull them through, go ahead and be thinking ahead as these line of storms are moving through the region now, and that's why we want to go ahead and make sure that you are aware of what is happening. We still do have those 2 tornado warnings, of course, but outside of the tornado aspect, we are also tracking the possibility of damaging wind gust as well as that large hail, and you can see that there in Morristown. Heads up, this storm is moving towards your location as well, and kind of getting some pictures that we can't show you on screen, but it does look like there is some lowering, certainly with some of these storms that are moving through. So once again, these storms do mean some business. Let's take a quick look and kind of dissect what is happening within the storm itself. That way you know where the area of rotation is at the moment. So this is going to be heading up towards Jefferson City. Once again, this started right around the Blaine community and has been lifting off towards the north and the east at about 25 miles per hour. So very slow moving. Right now, not seeing anything that is strong circulation. There is some broad rotation just to the north and the west of Jefferson City. Of course, we do have Cherokee Lake up here. If you know people out on the lake, hopefully they're not there right now as this storm is moving through, and it does mean some business. Here's a look at what we are tracking in terms of hail size. Not that great. It's actually come down a little bit. Hopefully that's a sign that maybe the storms are kind of interacting with one another, kind of taking away the fuel that other storms to the south are seeing at the moment. And we'll kind of slide back to the south where this storm has had the capability of producing some of that quarter to maybe even golf ball size hail at times. And here's a look at that. And it does look like what we have is a new tornado warning that is being issued. Now, let me clear this out and kind of back things out, and I'll show you exactly where that new tornado warning is being issued. And this is going to be be on a northern storm. So this is a separate storm of what we are talking about. So obviously we have the one in Roane County. This is going to be back up across portions of Campbell and even maybe portions of Scott County as well. So we'll pop that warning on for you, show that this is until 5:45 as well. So this is about 45 minutes from now. This is Campbell, Scott, Union counties, heads up Log Mountain back over towards La Follette, as this storm does have the capability of producing a tornado. And here's a look at that rotation. These storms have definitely, and there might be actually kind of two areas that we may have to watch closely. One is back here to the south and west of La Follette, kind of where that warning starts to take place, and then maybe another just to the east of La Follette that we're going to keep a very close watch on right now. I'm keeping a close look at the Weather Service chat as well. We're seeing multiple hail reports coming in, anywhere between, say, nickel to quarter to dime size hail. We want to thank you for sending in those reports, but here's a look at the areas that are most concerned right now, at least in regards to Campbell, Scott, and Claiborne counties. There's the fresh scan now beginning to come through. I would say that most pertinent in terms of rotation might be just to the east of La Follette right now, and then just to the west. So La Follette, you need to be in your safe place as we speak. Once again, this tornado warning is going until 5:45, so we still have a little bit of time left with this storm as it is moving off towards the east at about 25 miles per hour as well. This is in and around the Caryville community block as well as Log Mountain. You got Grantsboro over there as well. This is heading up towards Flat Hollow as this is lifting off once again to the north and northeast at about 25 miles per hour. You need to be in your safe place there in La Follette. Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley has been tracking these for you. Now we have 3 separate tornado warnings, and we're tracking those other 2 for you as well.
Yeah, and I'm kind of keeping an eye on all of these because, I mean, really, as one's flaring up, Jacob's analyzing a storm. I'm continuing to zoom in on your communities. So just to try to remind you, we do have that active tornado warning until 5:30 for Granger County towards Hamblin County, and that's moving along this north edge of Jefferson County. This is the storm that flared up into a severe storm, really Roane County to then West Knox and moved across Knoxville. Well, then we have this active tornado warning that Jacob was talking about, kind of splitting here into a couple of storm cells, possible signs of rotation for sure coming across Campbell County, Scott County. Really now we're looking at that eastern part of Scott, so you're kind of right on that edge. I would say Campbell County is definitely the heart of this possible rotation because it's just kind of skimming Scott County at the moment. But then notice Northwest Union, you're included in that. This would be continuing to drag up into Claiborne County. So while you're not in this tornado warning, it'd be extremely important to kind of consider yourself to be in that track because that's going to keep moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. So that does mean that it's moving towards Flat Hollow here over the next 10 minutes. Russell Mill, 526, and that's that leading edge there where it's then trying to rotate here on this backside. So I wanted to give you a heads up where it's kind of coming in pieces and parts with this particular storm. Combs closer to 551 and New Tazewell 6 o'clock. So that's where it's coming right up along that Kentucky line. In terms of that warning that was active in Roane County, again, they expired the tornado warning, and now we have a severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Roane County, and that includes Oak Ridge and Hardin Valley. So that is where these storms continue to try to twist up, and then they can kind of fall apart a bit because we're using a lot of this energy for different factors. One, a lot of you have heavy rain and frequent lightning. Notice beyond the warnings, that's the common problem. So you want to make sure you're getting inside. Then when we add in that risk for damage, we're seeing some wind and hail potential there. So some of the radar indicated 1-inch hail is definitely a concern because that could cause damage. You want to make sure you're away from windows. And then we have these active tornado warnings, Campbell County, and again, Granger County moving towards Hamblin County. So that's where you want to make sure then you're in the lowest level of your home away from windows. Trying to hit those different layers here where I know a lot of you are hearing the noisy storms. If maybe you've got somebody in your family who storms give them anxiety, just kind of get to your safe place. We'll try to continue to walk you through this, keep everybody, I always say stay informed to stay safe. That's all we can control at this point. So hopefully everybody is kind of staying in. You can see these fresh lightning indicators. We're highlighting the cloud to ground lightning. So this is where it's coming down from these storms. I know it can be very noisy. And then obviously we have areas of concern like that severe storm that's possibly rotating coming up towards Morristown. We do also have this severe storm coming along the edge of Monroe County. I'm not ignoring you guys. I know you also have a strong storm. It's trying to build. This could easily be warned here shortly as that's continuing to move up around Monroe County into Blount County. Blount County, you're pretty quiet at the moment. Definitely isn't always the case here as it's building into the kind of these very humid atmospheres here in areas like Loudoun and Monroe and Blount County. So I wanted to give you a heads up too that you may be surrounded at the moment, but I definitely think some of these storms are really going to keep flaring up in the areas that are quiet for now, and then obviously much noisier and more dangerous in areas like these severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warning. So we'll back up here again, kind of walking through where we have active warnings. We do have this severe thunderstorm warning in Roane County. So I'm going to recenter here my view, give you a little bit more room so that we can kind of actually talk more about exactly where it's headed. That's extremely important, obviously, in terms of where these storms are moving. Some of them are moving a little bit slower. They seem to be kind of holding at more of a 25-mile-per-hour pace now, but you can see that warning here continuing to move northeast. So we're going to get a track on that for you as that's moving northeast at about 25 miles per hour. So we'll track each part of this, kind of the southern edge. This one will be coming up. Notice, I mean, literally meeting the back edge of the other warning that already moved through Knox. So that's moving through Hardin Valley here in just the next 10 minutes. Nicholas Ballpark in North Knox, 526. Bearden, 541. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm. This is where we have 60-mile-per-hour gusts, and we've also been picking up some hail indications, especially since this was showing some sign of rotation. Downtown Knoxville, 551. Ritta, 605. Getting into that northern part of this storm, so that way you can get an idea where we're then coming across more of the Oak Ridge part of this story, and that'll be around 529 as we then get into the Fountain City area, 604. So we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that's issued. We'll come right back to where we left off here as we continue to analyze each of these storms as they develop and continue to kind of cross over into that severe threshold. So when they do, that's where they're actually getting into that 60-mile-per-hour winds and or 1-inch hail. So that's why some of these particular storm cells are being warned as we move forward with our area, and keep an eye on each of these storm cells. So in terms of damage, that is our greater risk in terms of our area. Actually, let's get over to meteorologist Jacob Durham. He's keeping an eye on what is some of your reports as well from some of these storms, especially this latest warning.
Yeah, definitely want to give a thank you to all of the viewers who are currently sending in those pictures, and I'll get to that here in just a moment. I got a new one from Brian from Jefferson City with that Tornado 1 storm. We'll show you what the structure looks like, and it's a very good picture showing you what we're dealing with. But I want to first focus on what we're dealing here in terms of this new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. This is for Cocke, Greene, Hamblin, and Jefferson counties. This does include the Tornadic 1 storm as well. You can see that there in the red shading. That part of the storm more so towards Morristown and then close to Cherokee Lake as well as Dandridge. But this new severe thunderstorm warning going until 5:45 this evening for the possibility of winds of 70 miles per hour and hail almost up to 2 inches in diameter. 1 3/4 of an inch in diameter is what this storm is for. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that warning box off. That way you can see who is in, who is out, and we'll kind of go into that street level and show you who is dealing with what. Let's start off with the hail, though. These supercellular structures have had the history of producing some large hail. Right now, we're not seeing that necessarily impressive amounts at this particular moment in time. I'll actually show you what radar is indicating, which should be right around, about 3/4 of an inch. So just shy of 1/4 inch hail possible. This is moving right up along the lake, heading right towards Morristown as we speak. And let's take a look at the velocities as well. Remember, there is a tornado warning for that area, and right now it definitely looks like we are dealing with some very, very strong winds coming in to Morristown, to Dandridge, those areas right now at this point in time. So right there is that storm that's moving through. Now, while we're talking about it, I also want to show you the picture that we got of this storm as it's moving into Jefferson City. So what this is what we call a shelf cloud. There could be a wall cloud somewhere in there. It's kind of hard to tell. Obviously, with a picture, you can't see that rotation as clearly, but this is just a sure sign that we have very strong winds that are continuing to push into the area. That's why we're telling you, go ahead and get in your safe place. Remember, a tornado warning is dangerous, but so is a severe thunderstorm warning, especially with the winds being spread out over a much larger area. That can cause just as much damage, if not more, because it's impacting more of you. So even though we might tell you, hey, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, you need to treat it as such, especially on a day like today, for the potential that some of these could have a brief spin up. We've seen it numerous times before. Obviously, we had the tornado warning that was in Roane County. That has now since expired, but now we're tracking that as a severe thunderstorm warning as well. And you can see that there near Kingston. We'll dive in a little bit closer to you. And then obviously, we are keeping a close watch on that tornado warning until 5:30 for Granger, Hamblin, and Jefferson. Chief Meteorologist Heather Haley has been diving into those storms, keeping a close watch as new rotation begins to develop.
Yeah, I mean, reach every single one of these. And it's such a good reminder, too, because even just if you think about it in terms of severe thunderstorm versus tornado, the number of severe thunderstorm warnings we have right now is greater impact. But absolutely, kind of the span of those winds, of that hail is greater right now. When we take a look, the fact that we have Cott County, I know a lot of folks live and kind of play on the water in this area as well, Newport, Dandridge. So these continue to move northeast at about 25 miles per hour. So that is where we have that potential wind and hail damage moving along. Newport here at 520, Dixie Highway 532, Caney Branch 552, and Paint Rock 6 o'clock. Now, we'll kind of move over here into this part of the storm. Now we're getting back into another severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that is coming up along Douglas Lake. Talk about our waterways on a busy weekend. Douglas Lake 521, Belmont 529, Clevenger about 536, Bybee 549, and Parrottsville just before 6 o'clock. Now I'm going to come up to this other side of Dandridge here as we're getting closer to the tornado warned storm. So again, that's where we're getting closer to the rotation part. So now you've got the potential for wind and hail damage, and then adding in that concentration of that rotation. So again, we're in that severe thunderstorm warning of Jefferson County, rolling towards Collier's Corner, 522, Kimbrough Crossroad, 529, 535 for White Pine, Hales Crossroads, you're at 542, and Beulah, 556. Now coming in right over the radar site here of that possible rotating storm in Hamblin County, rolling up, really cross Morristown, headed towards Greene County as well. So you can see Greene County kind of included in a couple of different warnings, severe thunderstorm warning. They just expired that tornado warning, so we're still tracking that severe storm, again, still showing that sign of potential wind damage and hail. Alpha 524, Morristown 538, Barton Springs 547, Whitesburg 602 to Mohawk and Greene County 609. And then on the northern edge of, again, what is now a severe thunderstorm warning, but still incredibly important that you take this seriously, as that is likely to have damaging wind and hail. Cherokee Park at 520, 538 for Whitesburg. Bulls Gap here at 545 and 602 Rogersville. To Amos around 609. So again, that's this cluster of what is now severe thunderstorm warnings. We do also have what is now active strong storms in Campbell County through Union County to Claiborne County. So these have kind of calmed down just a bit. I'm not saying they're calm, they're calmer. Right, we have a lot of heavy rain and frequent lightning. We do also have a severe thunderstorm warning until 5:45 for Anderson, Knox. That's Oak Ridge area as well. So big picture, we're now down to a handful of severe thunderstorm warnings. So I want to stay with this for you with a few more minutes for sure. Just kind of keep an eye on these as some of the tornado warnings were allowed to expire. But we do have multiple severe thunderstorms. I know Jacob's kind of keeping an eye on any possible rotation, kind of scanning this ourselves, along with, I'm sure, the team of meteorologists at the National Weather Service right here just outside of Morristown. So with this cluster of what is very noisy, heavy rain, frequent lightning, and then we step into this storm cell in Cott County where damaging wind and hail is possible. That damaging wind and hail is possible. Dandridge moving across Jefferson. It's possible moving across Hamblin County right now, towards Hawkins County, towards Greene County. It's possible right now along that edge of Granger County. Then you have a cluster of heavy rain and frequent lightning. Still want to make sure you're inside and away from windows, moving across northeast Tennessee. And then we have that severe thunderstorm warning coming across Oak Ridge into the edge of Clinton. So I want to stay with this while we have multiple severe storms, since that really does have that broad impact. Even though we've lost some of that broad rotation, we still have a major impact for much of our area. So I want to make sure everybody's staying safe. Right now, we do also have a couple of severe storms kind of coming right along the edge of our area. You can see this one's kind of scooting along the edge of Monroe County. And then we have that strong storm I was showing you that was kind of flaring up in Monroe. So where it's quieter, Loudon, Maryville to Madisonville area, just know the proximity. You're likely to have some of these storms kind of flare up in your neck of the woods, since we have this cluster of strong to severe storms throughout much of our area. Cumberland to Morgan, strong storms. Roane to Anderson to Knox, severe storms. Other side, so you can see where it's coming into West Knox now. Then you get past the other side of Knox County, throughout Jefferson, Cott County to Greene County, Hamblin County, and now the southern half of Granger County, all included in active severe thunderstorm warnings. So that's where, big picture, we have now 417 lightning strikes in our area. So then obviously encompassing our area as a whole with that heavy rain, that frequent lightning, and that potential for then damaging wind and hail when we step into some of these warned storms, mainly right now Cott County, Jefferson, Hamblin to Greene County, as well as Oak Ridge area. So kind of taking a close look, we can kind of zoom in on some of these communities here that are being directly impacted by that potential for damaging wind and hail. So I'm going to just recenter here for you better so we can kind of get a close look at exactly where we are talking in terms of this warning. Right now you can see we're coming right here along Bradbury. You've just been cleared, so that is definitely some good news for you. We're coming right here along Oak Ridge. Notice Oliver Springs right at the edge of this warning. So you're looking right at Oak Ridge, coming along that bend in Roane County, Anderson County to Knox County. Hardin Valley here. You're right there in the heart of that severe thunderstorm warning. So I would say the heart of that particular storm is sitting right here between Oak Ridge and Hardin Valley, and then that's moving northeast at about 25 miles per hour. So Karnes to Cedar Bluff, you're kind of right on that edge in Cedar Bluff. Karnes, I would say go ahead and treat this like this storm is bearing down on you next, absolutely. So you can see a little bit there too, that Edgewood Heights neighborhood. While you're on the edge of one strong storm, you're also kind of just ahead of what is a severe thunderstorm. So again, kind of treat it like you're right there. Now Powell to Fountain City, you can see where it's cleared. Halls, but you would be up next for this storm that's coming across, kind of edging by Clinton to Gibbs to Holston River, and then we can get on the other side of town, and now we're into another severe thunderstorm. So that's where we're looking at Friends Station to Flat Gap to Jefferson City. Obviously there's the radar site at Hamblin County. So this storm continues to move northeast. I want to kind of scan each part of this storm because you can see there's really a cluster of storm cells in this side of town. So I'm going to go south first to show you Dandridge. I'm going to kind of come over here just a bit too. I want to hit all these different communities. So we've just come past Smoky Station. We're sitting really at Piedmont to Dandridge here on the southern edge of that severe storm. Down here into Cott County. Now we're looking at Sandy Ridge to English Mountain at the edge of Sevier County. Now you look at Allen Grove, Jones Cove, Sevier County to Hartford, coming up into Wilton Springs as well. Click Mill to French Broad, you're down the line. This severe storm is headed your way as this moves across Cott County and Dixie Highway just down the road. Newport, right on the edge of this particular severe storm cell that's between Edwina and Newport, Baileytown, and moving northeast there. Now we come up towards Parrottsville and this is headed your way. So I want to get back into this kind of cluster of storm cells that's actually just a little bit north of here. So now we're coming back across Jefferson County to Hamblin County. We're at May Acres to Jefferson City to Panther Creek State Park. We have another severe storm that's moving across Morristown to Silver City to Whitesburg. Get a fresh severe thunderstorm warning just issued, so we'll kind of take a close look really quick at Mary Chapel on the northern edge, Mooresburg, for that particular severe thunderstorm warning. And we just got a new tornado warning, or severe thunderstorm warning as well. A tornado warning first. Let's take a look at this one as it just was issued by the National Weather Service.